مساء الخير. Avodah Zarah Daf Tet Zayin Amud Aleph, 15 lines down. Ben Betera Matir Besus. Ben Betera says in our Mishnah, you're allowed to sell large animals like a case like of a horse to goyim. The Gemara says, Time Bret says Ben Betera Matir Besus. Ben Betera allows a horse. Because riding on the horse is not something that a person's chayav a severe punishment on Shabbat. The Gemara says, maybe says no. Two reasons why you can't sell it. Ehad mishum turat klezayin might be used as a weapon. Ehad mishum turat behema gasan also is considered a large animal. We'll explain. Bishlam turat klezayin makes sense to say weapon. Because sometimes the soldiers will train the horses to kill by trampling. Turat behema gasa, but not to sell because it's a big animal. Mahi. What does that mean? What type of violation is that entailing? The Gemara says, because when the horse gets older and it can't carry people anymore, they might use it to grind millstones on Shabbat. And therefore, what does that lead to us? If I'm selling it, then what do I care? The reason is because if you're selling an old horse to a goy, he might make you test it right before Shabbat, and that will be doing something for you on Shabbat. Well, it says that you're allowed to sell horses. Ibadu answer the question. Short shilpetem, a fattened ox, the ox they used to fatten up to get fat for eating. Mahu, what's the halacha? It can't work, so can you sell it? Tibai Rabbi Yehuda, Tibai Rabbanan. It's a question according to Rabbi Yehuda and Hamim. Tibai Rabbi Yehuda, the question of Hamim. Rabbi Yehuda rather. Ad kan lo kosher Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda only allowed you to sell big animals to goyim. Ella bishvura only if it's injured. The lo atili lechamaha because it can work. It can't work. If it's missing a leg, it'll never work. Avahai, but the case of this fat ox, dechimashlehu atil chalamelcha. If you give it a good diet, it could eventually work. Asur, maybe he'd agree that it's asur. Odim, Rabbi even Hamim. Lo ka'asri al-hatam ella distamilla shehitah. He says the reason why in the Mishnah usually animals are not usually used for slaughter. But in this axe, distamilla shehitah, it's going to be used for slaughter and not for the korban or whatnot. After the rancha, maybe he'll be used allow you for to sell it to him. Gemara says Tashma bringing proof. The members, the Gui members of Rabbi's household would bring a fat ox on their holiday. Then 1 year Rabbi paid them 40,000 coins to the royal family. Don't bring it that day, bring it the next day. He said about the next year, he paid another 40,000 coins. Don't bring it while it's alive, bring it to the king while after it was slaughtered. He kept on changing it. He said about in the third year, he said to cancel it at all. Don't I'll pay you 40,000 coins not to bring it at all. So my time, why did he want to make sure they brought the animal slaughtered instead of live? Because maybe the king will keep the ox alive, and you might think you're allowed to give a goy a present of a live animal. Gemara says no. If that's the case, why would he make you push it off 1 day? Why in the first round did he pay them to push it off 1 day? That doesn't help anything with Marid Ain. No one's gonna think anything differently. He's still looking like he's selling to a goy. Rabbi wanted to kish this tradition. And therefore, he said, let me start, in order to kish it completely, let me start uprooting it and changing it year by year. And therefore, part of that process was having it dead. Okay, now that if the guy wants to keep it alive, maybe it'll be used for work. Or I said, he says it's true. As Vida, this person who used to sell fattened animals, he said that an ox that was fat, that got died, became skinny. Va'avir al had he does double the amount of work, and therefore the Vida would say that maybe it's asur. Okay, en mochrin lehem dubin variot. You can't sell to a goy bears and lions. Or anything else that can damage people. En bonim en besilki kirdom mestativ bima. You can't build for the goyim these structures or a tall court building or a stadium or a platform. All these could be used against people. You could build them an altar for their sacrifices and bathhouses. Now, in regarding to building the bathhouse, the problem with bathhouses, they put Avodah Zarah on a certain part. So if you reach the dome where they put the Avodah Zarah, you can't build that part, but you can build everything until then. And so you're allowed to build stuff around the Avodah but not specifically for the Avodah Zarah. Okay. Marav, Hayaga Sahareki Bimeda Kala Perkus. So, this is general halakha. We're getting a nice um, intro into Kochim, into Masechet Chulin. If a person wants to know whether or not the animal that is dying, you want to know if you're slaughtering it while it's alive or not, it has to be able to move on its own volition. And what does that mean? They call it precruz, which means like that it's jerking its leg, which means that he says that the big animals and small animals have move their leg in a way that shows they're still alive. A small animal moves its leg and then pulls it back. A large animal only needs to move the leg once outward, just that's how you prove it's still alive. And Rav here says that the small and large are the same. Moving one leg is fine. Okay. Avlam Yechila, but not for selling. Meaning you can't sell the big animals, you can only sell small animals. Vani Omer Af Mechila. Also Rav Hanan also says the same thing applies. Large is like small for selling. Makom Shenagul Kol Bachrin. He's sorry, he argued. He said Rav said not for selling, and Rav Hanan says it equals the same thing as selling. You could sell both. Makom Shenagul in place where there's minhag to sell, you could sell Shenum Kol but you can't sell, you can't sell. Okay, because according to minhag. Time from the proof from our Mishnah. And Mochrin Lahem Dubin Barayot Vachot Rashish Ben Sakrabim Tama. The reason why you can't sell them big animals is because because they could hurt people, these animals. High level is gonna be Mishar, but it sounds like large animals that can't hurt someone. Maybe it's mutar. Maybe selling a buffalo, it doesn't hurt people. Proof according to the Hanan, the Gemara says not proof. Marabarula, Marabarula, but Ari Shavor, our Mishnah talking about a case where the lion is like an injured lion. A little bit of according to the Buddha who holds that injured a large animal that's injured is okay. Amashimar stamari shavur hu etzem lacha says a regular lion, according to him, is considered injured regarding to work because you good luck getting a lion to work for you. Oh yeah, pull the millstone. He's gonna just stare at you. Meti, I have a question. The same way you can't sell a large animal, so you can't sell them a large non-domesticated animal. Even if they sell small domesticated animals, you can't sell large animals. We see from here that large is not like small regarding to selling. The Gemara says, that's a question. Okay. Ravina has a conclusion to our Mishnah right now. And then he answers the time. Our Mishnah said, "En mokrin hen debin married to cancel a lion, bear, anything that causes pain, damage." Tama, the reason why the Ibn is because of the injury. Allah sounds like no injury. Mokrin you could sell, but me is tira from Beretat. Kishen and mokrin behema gasa. We can't sell large domesticated animals. Kash and mokrin hayagasa. We can't sell large wild animals. But I feel even a place where they do sell small domesticated animals, you can't still sell large wild animals. Seemingly, you can never sell lions and bears, etc. Tomorrow's Mishnah, we answer the question as follows. Ba'ari Shavur, our Mishnah saying selling mutar is in the case of an injured lion. Like Rabbi Da says. Vashem Amar says, Tamari Shavur, hu etzem melachas, same thing as before. A regular lion is considered injured regarding to work, that it's considered you're not going to be able to work it. All right. A lion regarding to work is like a cow that has a broken leg. Both of them are not going to work. He's Rahman says, oh, 1 second. You're bringing a proof from a lion regarding non-domesticated animals. Who says lion is considered a large non-domesticated animal? Maybe it's considered a small non-domesticated animal. Okay. Rashi made a proof from our Mishnah. And then he answered the question of Rav Hanan. The Mishnah said, "En mochin the the reason is that it benezek because it's damaged. How does it know damage? Mochin could sell the Tama Ari. The Rav Ashi proved that Mishnah mentioned specifically the case of a lion. The Tama Ari Shavur Hoyas and Nachab because regular lions are considered injured, going to work. They won't work for you. Tufta did Rav Hanan, but Rabbi Tufta the question against Rav Hanan again that it's a question of Hanan that regarding to animals that won't work and non dangerous, you still can't sell it. But Haggasa Mehat Melachat Avda, the Gemara says, okay, fine. Can a large wild animal, what type of work can that do? What are you gonna use a donkey for? He says that's Yohani's house. They used to train Not trained. You use wild donkeys to grind the millstone. Okay, Mar Rabbi Habin Berev Tamaran. When Berev does his Shiva, he told us, Gemiru Minai Hamilta, he says, learn from this halacha. The Migavra Rabash Mili, I heard it from a great rabbi. V'lo yadana im Rav Ishmuel, I don't know if I heard it from Rav or Shmuel, because he was a Talmid of both. He said, "Hayagasa hariki bimada kal pirkus." Large wild animals, like a small animal regarding to jerking that is considered live with one movement. Kiatar the kurukina when I went to Kurukina place, Ashechad Reb Haya Ba'ashe. He found Reb Haya. The Kamar Shmuel Shmuel. He mentioned this halacha in the Shmuel. Hayagasa hariki bimada kal pirkus. I mean, and therefore he said to himself, "Shamina Shmuel Shmuel." Might be I heard it from Shmuel, not Rav. Kiat the Surah when it came to Surah. Ashkechan the Rebbe Braymi, that if the Kamar de Shmid Rav, he mentions halacha in the name of Rav. Chayaga Sahar Heki B'Mala Kalei Perkus. I mean, that's in itself. Okay, Shmamina must be Itmar B'Shmid Rav, Itmar Shmuel. They mention the halacha mentioned both the Rav and Shmuel. Kisalata man that is Israel. Ashkei Rav Zeh, Hanan Rav Zeh, that the Kamar he was saying, Amar Rachama Bar Guria Meshmid Rav. Chayaga Sahar Heki B'Mala Kalei Perkus. He says the same thing. Amar he said to him, "It also about the word demand Marash Matad Rabbi Bar Yirmiyah." He says, 1 second, why are you quoting that? You should be quoting Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Bar Yirmiyah. Instead of Rahama. Marley said to me, Pate Uthma, you fool. From here on out, we're going to settle this to tell you that Rav Chama heard it from Rav, and Rabba Bar Yirmiyah heard it from Rav Chama. Okay. It might be proof from here, Amar Rabbi Yizram Bar Baseh, Amar Rabba Bar Yirmiyah, Amar Rav Chama Bar Kuria, Amar Rav, Hagasa Arehi Kilibah Dakal. Because we see that's the correct quote, Rabba Chama from Rav Chama from Rabbi Yirmiyah from Rav. Okay. Next case Mishnah. In Bonim, you don't build these places for them. There's three type of structures that for goyim. After they used to make this structure for the goy non-Jewish kings. And bathhouses and storehouses. Rabbi says, two of them are mutar, one of them is asur. Besiman, how you remember which one? I know it's two. The king's structure is asur because they'll use it for executing people. You can have a different version. The all mutar. But now, 1 second. How can you say the all mutar? Mashan says, anybody, man, basically, you see building these structures are asur. You can't build them, these type of places, a structure that's part of these structures of a stadium, platform, or tall building. But regular structures like a bathhouse is okay. Tamam. Rabbi Elazar was grabbed by the goyim. I don't think I ever explained Mishnah. Mishnah was saying you can't build these certain structures like stadiums and platforms and court buildings because they're used for either torturing people, killing people, coliseums where they have people killed, fighting animals, etc. That's why I don't get involved. Okay. Rabbi Elazar, next part says that Rabbi Elazar was grabbed by the goyim for and accused of teaching apikorsut, meaning apikorsut for the goyim is he was teaching Torah. He brought him to the court to be judged. Amalo to the Roman official said to him, you wise man should be involved in nonsense like the Torah. Amalo, he said, he says, I trust the judge, meaning he's saying, I trust. Because the Roman official is thinking it was talking about him. I trust you. Okay. The Eliezer was referring to God. He's saying, God, I trust you that I'm being accused of apikorsut by the goyim. Must be that I did something apikorsut to you. But it worked. The official said to the Eliezer, since you trusted me, he swears by his Avodah Zarah that you're a patur. When he came home, the students came to console him. He didn't accept their consolation. He still felt bad. He's like, what did I do wrong to be accused of apikorsut? It must be that I did something wrong. Rabbi Akiva said, then let me teach you something that you told me. Amar said, go for it. Amar said, maybe something of aprikosut was mentioned to you, and you liked it. And therefore, because you liked what an apikor said, therefore you got dragged into this. Amar said, Akiva, his you reminded me. One time, I was walking in the market in Tzipori, I found the one Apikoris, his name was Yaakov of Kfar Sechania. He told me, it says in your pasuk, Lo tavi etan zona. You cannot use the wages of a zonah, the money that a pro or a gift that a prostitute gets for her services. You can't use that for korbanot and those and kadosh things. He says, "Mahu la'asot hemenu bet hakisid l'kohen gadol." He's like, what do you want to use those funds or this or the things that she uses? What do you want to do about making the kohen gadol's toilet in the Bet Hamikdash? I didn't answer him because you don't get involved with them. Amali, then he says to me, he says, I can prove it to you. Because Pasuk says, "Ki me'etenan zuna, ki b'seba adetenan zuna yashuvu." It says that the money from the zuna will go back to the zuna, meaning, he says it came from filth, let it stay by filth. He says, "V'nadzi davar." He says, and then he realizes maybe it's a good idea because it's going from the zuna using for a toilet, which is disgusting. So maybe it should be allowed. And Rabbi Elazar liked it. I did then it must therefore I was grabbed and accused of being apikoris. Because I went against Torah. Stay away from her refers to zoom in the first step, stay away from apikoris. And also don't come near the door of the house. It refers to staying away from corrupt rulers and stuff who cause you to do bad things. A different version of the pasuk refers to Zumit stay away from Apikorsut and the authorities. Don't go near the house. Zuzuna, stay away from Mazuna's house. The Kama, how far you should stay from Mazuna. Marav Hizda, Abamot, stay at least 4 amot so you don't get tested. Ramnan, Hi, Me'etan Zuna, Ma'adar, what is the pasuk? Teach you, Rav Hizda, Kozna, Shin, Spirit, Lavasov, he's Socheret, then the pasuk. He says, any Zuna that hires, people will be so disgusted by her that she's a disgusting person that in order for her to find someone to be with her, she'll have to pay someone eventually. وبتيجي لهفه وتيجي ربي بدار إن السيرة goes against ربي بدار أمر ربي بدار بدار لو أصلا ترى إلا كذبات شجوري بلاد. The only time Torah says you can't be with someone يعني not distancing yourself, it's only for someone you're asur to marry. שנאמר פסוק says ish et kol shira בסדר לא תקרבו לגבי only regarding erva you should have a distance but you don't have to distance yourself from an azuna for a month. Similarly, Ula ki have yatim berav when Ruva would come home from shul, from the learning, have a menashek, he would kiss his sisters on their arms, Ramila Abe or some people say that was on their sleeves next to their chests. Then he actually went against himself. Amar Ula said, Kiriba Ama Asur. He says any touching between man and woman should be Asur even if like a relative, like I says, Mishum, the reason is lech lech amrim nizira sehor sehor lekanol. You have this famous concept of telling a nazir go away from the vineyard, right? Because you're putting yourself in unnecessary test by putting yourself somewhere that you're asur. You can't go to the vineyard. You can't eat from the vineyard. Don't hang around the vineyard. Don't work there, right? So same concept. He says any don't touch women because that might cause you to have problems. Lela akush benot have have, right? Mishnah Pasuk says to the aluka, the two daughters says give. My have what's going on over here. There are two types of people who cry from Gehinam. They're telling people in this world, and in this world, they're telling people, bring me, bring me. What's that? Who are these daughters? Minut varashut, people who are apikoris and corrupt rulers are always asking people to give them stuff. Ignore the version of the voice of Ginam itself is crying out and saying, have you bring me my two daughters? So I caught an hour crying for punishment. In this world, they're saying, bring me, bring me. Like I said, because these people are punished because they, in this world, especially, they're keep on grabbing stuff for themselves and not for the right reason. Okay. Next, Pasuk says, whoever comes to Avodah Zarah does not do teshuvah. Not live life. Now, the Gemara says, if they're not going to go back to teshuvah, of course they won't get Olam Haba. Gemara says, no. If a person does teshuvah from Avodah Zarah, he'll die immediately before he can fall back to Avodah Zarah. That would be the chesed Hashem does for him. Gemara says, does that mean everybody does teshuvah from Avodah Zarah dies? He was a woman, the Atila committed of his who came to Fort of Chizah and told him, Kala shebekalu, that her smallest Avirah was Asta benaha katom b'na gadol, that she had a child from her oldest son. Gross. Amar if he's done, if he told her, and she wanted to do teshuvah. And if he said, Tirhula bizvata, go prepare her burial shroud because she's going to die because she's doing teshuvah. But Lama said she didn't die. Sounds like because she said that her smallest sin was being with her oldest son to create another boy. which is pretty terrible, then imagine her biggest sin must have been apikorsut, and still she didn't die if she's doing teshuvah. The Gemara says, "Hahud lo hadar Rabbi Shapir mishum hachi lo shemata." It's because it's true, but she didn't do teshuvah perfectly on the apikorsut, and that's why she didn't die. Ikna version in ma'avira lo. The Gemara says, one second. Well, you only die immediately if you're doing teshuvah from Avodah Zarah, but not from doing immorality. Different story was a woman came over of his dad with the same version, same story that she said that she did incest with her son, and he said prepare her burial shrouds, and she died. We see that if you do the shuvah from even from incest or bad other avirot, you die immediately. Where it says "Midikamat klash v'klot midachal nudan hadawa." Right, it's exactly invert to the other story, other version of the story. That yes, she said that the lightest avirah was incest, which means she did apikorsud and she did the shuvah from the apikorsud, and that's why she died.